Hi guys, I am Syrachime and I welcome you back to another episode of Pokemon SoulSilver. In the last episode, we took on Whitney at the Goldenrod City gym and had a very intense battle, actually one of the most intense battles I think I've ever remembered in a Pokemon game. And while the battle was intense, stressful, and probably very comedic for you guys to watch, we were able to narrowly obtain victory and got the plain badge as a result. So in this episode, I am more than happy to put what happened behind us and move on towards the future because this thing is annoying. So in this particular episode, we're going to go ahead and leave this horrible town or this horrible city and make our way towards our next location, which actually happens to be up north of here. We will look at that in just a minute. But before we do anything else, there is a couple of things we want to do before we actually leave town, and that is, well, once you obtain the plain badge, you actually want to go into this building here, which is the Goldenrod Flower Shop. Now, if you go in here and talk to the person in here, they are going to give you an item that's not really that important for, well, it's important for one thing, and that is it. So you talk to her, she says, apparently there is an odd tree on Route 36, which is where we are heading to. Anyway, they say it dances when you water it. That's weird that a tree dances when you water it. Well, in any case, oh, that's the plain badge from Goldenrod Gym. Did you defeat Whitney? Yes, I did, and I really don't want to talk about it. It was just that bad. So, well, then there's nothing to worry about, is there? I suppose not. If I can beat a giant cow, I can get through anything, I guess. I'll let you use the squirt bottle for a while then. Oh, never mind. Keep it. And with that, we obtain the squirt bottle. The thing that we're going to be using to apparently make a tree dance, and that is the end of that. But we'll kind of discuss that when we actually get to Route 36, because we actually need to get to Route 35 to get to Route 36. Alright. So once you do that, that is pretty much everything that we can do here. Like I said, there are a couple of things we could explore yet, but I'm going to save those for a little bit later because we can't really do anything with them anyway. So with that, we are going to leave this area and head towards Route 35. Now here on Route 35, there actually are a few new Pokemon you can find here. And I'm going to kind of do something a little bit different, and that is I'm going to go ahead and do some battles to kind of level up my Pokemon while I introduce the new Pokemon that can be found here. So while doing that, the first new Pokemon you could find here is a Poison-type Pokemon, which is a Nidoran male, found in both versions of the game throughout all the time cycles. Now, Nidoran male has some respectable offenses along with a pretty good speed stat. And in addition to that, this Pokemon has an insane amount of versatility in its move pool, which is honestly its main selling point. So this Pokemon fully evolved can learn things like Flamethrower, Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, just a lot of really good things that would help you out in an offensive situation. And this also goes along with a pretty unique typing. Fully evolved, it is a ground poison type, which is fairly unique, only shared by one other Pokemon, which we'll look at in a minute. Now, unfortunately, Nidoran male is kind of held back by the fact that its defenses and HP are kind of low. And while we're on the subject, of talking about its stats, aside from its HP and defense, the rest of its stats are just subpar at best. So honestly, because of that, it is unfortunately a Pokemon that is outclassed in both its role as an attacker and even in versatility. There are a lot of better Pokemon out there, so yeah, I don't recommend Nidoran. It is a potentially usable Pokemon, but it is outclassed, just to say the least. Now, the second Pokemon you can find here is actually the female version of the Nidoran female, also a poison type, found in both versions of the game throughout all the time cycles. Now, Nidoran female is actually the opposite of Nidoran male in that it actually has respectable defenses and a good HP stat. And in addition to that, its unique typing of the ground poison typing fully evolved actually complements its defenses very well. And while its versatility, it has the same versatility as Nidoran male, this versatility is not as... It's not as good of a selling point. It's more of a bonus rather than a selling point. But because this Pokemon is not really an offensive Pokemon, it doesn't really have good offensive stats and it has a really low speed stat. And in addition to that, while this Pokemon is a defending Pokemon, it is more or less outclassed in its role as a defender. It is a usable Pokemon, but mostly as a unique wall, otherwise it's outclassed in many different ways. So the final Pokemon you can find on this route is the Bug Flying type Pokemon, Yanma, found in both versions of the game throughout all the time cycles, but it's worth noting that this Pokemon is very hard to get. It is very incredibly rare, only 1% chance of finding it. But if you do manage to find it, one special note that I need to say about it is that this Pokemon evolves only when learning the move Ancient Power through leveling up. So more or less at level 33, this Pokemon will be able to evolve if you want to go that route. Now, looking at Yanma, Yanma fully evolved has a really good speed and special attack stat, and this complements, its stats are complemented with a fairly versatile move pool, which can be acquired both through leveling up and through TMs. Now, while if good stats and good moves weren't enough, this Pokemon also has really two solid abilities. It has the speed boost, which basically ups its speed every stage. In addition to that, it has the move Tinted Lens, which pretty much does 50% damage to any non-super effective move, or any move that's not super effective. So more or less, if you hit a Steel type with your Bug Buzz attack, it's going to do normal damage rather than 50% less. Now, unfortunately, what really hurts Yanma, if you couldn't see it coming, this offensive Pokemon is kind of frail defensively. It only has a respectable HP and defense stat, along with a low special defense stat. And in addition to that, this Pokemon actually has really bad typing. It has 5 weaknesses in total, and this includes a quad weakness to Rock-type moves. So, as far as Yanma goes, I do see it as a potentially usable Pokemon. It's a really solid special attacker with good abilities, but you're going to need support in order to make this Pokemon work. So, because of that, kind of have to pick your battles here. If you want a Pokemon that you could use, I do recommend it, but outside of that, I might pass on and look for something else. Alright, so those are all the new Pokemon you could find there. And I realized during the process of those battles that I had an evasion thing going on, but I do not worry about such things because, well, I am goofy. Haha. So we'll go ahead and finish this battle, and I'm going to go ahead and get to the next area. This area is really not that big. You can find a couple of items here. And honestly, the next part that we're heading to, you could actually skip by having the move cut. But I really don't want to do that. I'd like to level up my Pokemon a little bit, which is what I'm doing. I really don't want another gym battle like what happened against Whitney. That was just flat out awful, and I never want to see it happen again. I usually keep my Pokemon around the level of the gym leaders just to kind of make the battles a little more interesting, but oh, that was just awful. The next battle that I do is going to be a little bit less dramatic. Let's put it like that. Alright, so Zubat is up to level 19 now, which is fantastic. I give up. It's about time you gave up, dude. And we send money to Mom. I have a bad feeling about that. Well, anyway, these next 2 trainers here, you actually could have avoided both those trainers. This trainer right here is required, but if you get past him, these other 2 trainers up here are not required if we can get them to look in the opposite direction. But apparently they are not good at doing that for whatever reason. Haha, I avoided you people. I am a master ninja. Alright, so we're coming up to this part here where there's actually something here called a bug catching contest, and that is with the National Park. Now, we will be doing the bug catching contest in just a little bit, but I'd actually like to go in and just show you guys the park because this is probably one of my favorite locations in the entire game, and mostly because of just the music itself. So I'm actually going to shut up for a second, let you guys listen to this for a minute. Listen to how peaceful this is. So yeah, anyway, there's that peaceful music and my horrible attempts at trying to dance in time with this thing. I really do love this place. Like I said, this place here, I really don't know how to describe it. I really don't like the fact that it's like a park for bugs and whatnot, but the music is just so peaceful, and when you actually get up here, there's a giant fountain right in the middle. This place is just absolutely gorgeous. I love this place. There are some other locations in Jhoto that I like, but I think this is probably by far my favorite, and probably not just stupid random encounters. Well, anyway, this is probably my favorite place, not so much just because of the music. I do like the music, but there's a lot of good features here. Alright, so unfortunately in that battle, I came up against a Hoot and actually got injured, so I'm going to go heal up really quick, and I will meet you guys back here in just a bit. Be right back. Alright, sorry about the cut there, guys. Had a really hard time getting back down to Goldenrod City and back here. Actually ran into some trainer battles. It's an accident. Nothing happened, though. Nobody leveled up or anything, so we're good to go here. Alright, so since we are here in National Park, there are a couple of events that we could actually take part in. But there are actually some new Pokemon that kind of coincide with either outside or inside of those events, namely the bug catching contest. So as such, there are actually a couple new Pokemon you can find here. And while I actually go ahead and, well, we'll get to the bug catching contest in a minute, but first, like before, I'd like to do some battles. So we'll talk to this trainer here. My Pokemon is simply darling. Let me tell you how proud my darlings make me. Yeah, you do that while I introduce you guys to some new Pokemon. So anyway, the first Pokemon you can find here outside of the contest is the Grass-type Pokemon Sunkern, found in both versions of the game only during the daytime. Now, Sunkern fully evolved has a really good special attack stat, and along with this Pokemon has two really good abilities that make it work very well in the sun. It has Chlorophyll, which pretty much doubles its speed, in addition to Solar Power, which raises its special attack by 50% at the cost of a little bit of health. Now, unfortunately, outside of having a good special attack stat, the rest of this Pokemon's stats are just subpar. It only has a respectable attack or respectable defense and HP stat, and even though it does have a good speed, didn't realize how low Zubat was getting there. Anyway, even though it does have a good speed, it is kind of low even in the sunlight. Its speed is not that good. So probably the biggest thing hurting Sunkern, aside from its low stats outside of special attack, it virtually has no versatility whatsoever. It can learn Grass-type moves only, and maybe the occasional Poison-type move, but outside of that, this Pokemon can't learn any good moves, and because of its low overall stats and its lack of versatility, I honestly don't recommend this Pokemon at all. Alright, so that takes care of whoever that was, and I guess, well, what is this? Your Pokemon is so cute and adorable. You love Pokemon just like I do. Excuse me. Alright, I guess I love Pokemon. Why are you telling me this? Want to trade phone numbers? Let's chat. It'll be so much fun. Well, you're not Professor Elm and you're not Whitney, so yes, I will accept your number. I really don't know why I accept this. I'm just going to go ahead and take it anyway. Alright, let's be honest. Wait, to be honest, I want a Meryl. But I make do with my cute Snubble. Well, I'm glad you do that. Oh, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, Snubble. You're the cutest Pokemon ever. Really? Alright, if you say so. I don't personally think that Snubble's all that cute myself, and even when it evolves into, that thing is just horrible. Anyway, we got another trainer over here, so we're going to go ahead and battle him. Or have a random encounter, whatever works, right? I'm going to go ahead and heal up my Zubat just a little bit, because I'd like him to get a little bit of experience for reasons you guys will see, hopefully, in a little bit. Alright, so the next trainer here. Gonna battle him. Don't care what you have to say, dude. Haha, I have bios to look at. So anyway, if we actually do get into the bug catching contest, which is what we are going to do here in a moment, one of the new Pokemon you can actually find during the contest is the bug poison type Pokemon Venonat, found in both versions of the game. Now, Venonat has a respectable speed and special attack stat, and in addition to that, it's got a really solid ability in Tinted Lens, just like Yanma does. So you basically get a 50% boost to any moves that are not super effective. So go ahead and spam away the stab moves. Now, unfortunately, what really hurts Venonat, this Pokemon, like a lot of other bug types, is pretty frail defensively with a low defense and HP stat. And even though it does have good offensive stats respectable, they're only respectable at best. And in addition to that, this Pokemon is actually outclassed in both its role and with its ability, because Yanma also gets the better ability, but is actually faster and more powerful. And like I said, there are better special attackers out there. So if you do want this Pokemon, it is potentially usable, but you have to keep in mind that this Pokemon is outclassed by a lot of other Pokemon. Alright, so the second Pokemon you could find here is actually the Bug-type Pokemon Pinsir, found in both versions of the game. Now, Pinsir has a fantastic attack stat, a great defense stat, and a respectable speed stat. And in addition to that, this Pokemon has a great versatile move pool, which it can get both through leveling up and through TMs. Now, the thing about Pinsir is it actually doesn't really have a lot of weaknesses. In fact, the only real weakness that it has is it actually can't take a lot of special hits. It does have a low HP, meaning that it can't take hits physically either, but this isn't as defining as its special defenses, and that's really its only weakness. If there was anything else, I would say it is outclassed, not so much in-game, but Pinsir, ever since the existence of Heracross ever came to be, it has been outclassed by Heracross, and that's more or less the thing that actually hurts it the most. But this Pokemon is actually very good, and I highly recommend it. Especially if you're looking for a bug type and you want a physical attacker, this is the Pokemon to get. Alright, so that takes care of the Skull Kid Jack. There is one more Pokemon we can get. But before we do anything with that, we have... oh, apparently not. Wow, my knowledge has been wrong. Well, anyway, want some battle tips, blah blah. I do not want your number, dude. I have more important things to do. Haha. Alright, so I'm going to go find one more trainer before we actually take part in the bug catching contest. Because as it turns out, there actually is one new Pokemon. But, well, there is one more new Pokemon we can get. I'm going to go ahead and throw out Oddish for a little bit. I've sworn that Oddish, or not Oddish, but something was going to happen to Zubat. Oh, well, anyway. One more Pokemon you could find here, and that is the bug flying type Pokemon Scyther, found in both versions of the game during the bug catching contest. Now, Scyther is a pretty unique Pokemon because it's one of the few Pokemon where both its base form and its evolution have their advantages. So we're going to actually take a look at both of their forms, but we're going to go and start with Scyther's base form first. Now, Scyther in its base form has a really good attack stat, along with a good speed stat. And it actually has access to a fairly versatile move pool, which it can get both through leveling up and through TMs. Now, unfortunately, what really hurts Scyther is the fact that this Pokemon is actually quite frail defensively. It can take a lot of hits, and in addition to that, because of how bad its typing actually is, with a lot of weaknesses, this Pokemon is just really not that good of a Pokemon. You're going to have a lot of trouble with it. Now, there is a workaround to this. Well, not so much this, but if you don't really want a Scyther, but you'd like to have its evolution, if you trade a Scyther holding the Metal Coat, it will become Scizor, a bug steel type. Now, Scizor is a lot different from what Scyther is. Scizor has a higher attack stat and a very solid defensive stat with a pretty respectable special defense. In addition to that, this Pokemon's got a really unique typing with only one weakness to boot, and along with that, the ability Technician is actually one of the best abilities in the entire game. When you get the ability Technician, you use that with the powerful Bullet Punch, you've got a very powerful Pokemon. In fact, this move was so powerful that it actually became Scizor's identity from the 4th generation on. Now, the main downsides to Scizor, this Pokemon has a low speed stat. It's not going to be outspeeding a lot of things outside of its priority, Technician, Bullet Punch. And even though it only does have one weakness, it is basically a quad weakness to fire, meaning that it is not that great if you ever come up against a fire type. And probably goes without saying, in order to actually get this Pokemon at all, you need to trade it in order to evolve it. So both Scyther and Scizor had their advantages, but if you want a Pokemon like this, I highly recommend that you pick up a Scyther. If you want a speedy offensive Pokemon, I would go with Scyther. Otherwise, I would go with the more durable offense in Scizor if you want to go that route. Alright, so that is that battle, and it got a little intense for me, and there's my mother calling to tell me that she picked up more stuff for me, I bet. Oh, mother, I have no time for you. I've got more important things to do. Alright, so while I'm ignoring my mother, I'm actually going to run back and heal my Pokemon really quick, and I will be right back once again. Alright, I am back, and now it is time to actually take part on the bug catching contest. I actually want to do this for reasons you will be seeing very soon, hopefully. So anyway, if you're going to do the bug catching contest, the only times you can actually do this are on a Tuesday, Thursday, or a Saturday. Now what you want to do is you want to come up to this guy and talk to him. You say, today's Thursday. Yes, today is Thursday as of the day I'm recording this. So anyway, that means the bug catching contest is on today. The rules are simple. Using one of your Pokemon, catch a bug Pokemon to be judged. Would you like to give it a try? Yeah, it's pretty much as simple as that. I'm going to go ahead and say yes. Now, if you have more than one Pokemon, he'll say, uh-oh, you have more than one Pokemon. You'll have to use Oddish, or the first Pokemon in your party, because it is the first Pokemon in your party. Is that okay with you? In this case, I'm actually going to go ahead and say yes, because I actually want to use Oddish's Sleep Powder and Stun Spore to help make catching these Pokemon a little bit easier. Not to mention, he's actually, or she, is going to actually need the main prize when this is done. Kind of talk about that more later. So yes, I'm actually going to do this. Alright, fine, we'll hold your other Pokemon while you compete. Thank you, that's very generous. How do I know your people aren't with Team Rocket? Oh well, gullible 10-year-old kids are gullible. Chime's Pokemon were left with the contest helper. Here are the sports balls for you for the contest, which are more or less just like Safari balls or Great Balls, more or less. Just glorified Great Balls, I guess. Alright, the person who gets the strongest bug Pokemon is the winner. There's actually more to this, and I will explain it as we get into it. You have 20 minutes to catch a Pokemon, and that's pretty much it. If you run out of balls, you're done. You can keep the last Pokemon you catch as your own. Yeah, get out, well, excuse me, go out and catch the strongest bug Pokemon you can find. And we will do that. Alright, so when you're doing the bug catching contest, I actually do recommend that you have a Pokemon that can use status conditions because, well, the overall health of your Pokemon is going to be a determining factor on the prize. Is that, well, on when the people actually judge the Pokemon that you catch, excuse me. So yeah, more or less the things that determine if you're the victor or whatnot, is pretty much the rarity of the Pokemon, the level at which it was caught, and the health in which you actually get it at. So pretty much you're going to want to look for Pokemon like Beedrill, Butterfree, Scyther, Pinsir. You want to avoid Pokemon like this because they're really not that good. A level 18 Metapod might be good to compete, but you really want to try to go for a better Pokemon than that. So it helps to have a Pokemon like I do with Oddish, who has Stun Spore. It'll make catching them a lot easier. You really don't want to injure these Pokemon if you can do that. So we're going to go ahead and see if I can't catch anything. So far we're only running into Cocoon Pokemon, which is just completely worthless. So anyway, if you do manage to get first place in this, which is what I'm hoping I can do, the first prize is actually very valuable. Here's a Beedrill. Oh, at level 14, that's about as high as a Beedrill can get. So we're going to go ahead and try to catch this thing if we possibly can. Oddish! Put it into I almost said put it to sleep. Use your Fury Attack. Fury Attack. Use your Stun Spore. Thank you. Alright, that'll poison it. We'll start throwing Pokeballs at it now. Now, like I said, you generally want to go for Pokemon like Beedrill, Butterfree, Pinsir, or Scyther. Those will be your best chance to actually win. It's not guaranteed, but those are your best chances if you can get that. And while I am actually talking about the bug Pokemon you can find here, as it turns out, while you can't exactly get Butterfree and SoulSilver or Beedrill and Heart Gold, you actually can get those Pokemon here in this bug catching contest if you come here and do this. So, if you do want those Pokemon, you couldn't get them in your respective version, you can come and get them here. Right, so once you catch your Pokemon, we've caught this Beedrill, and that is added to the Pokedex. Not sure how that happened. So anyway, it has 3 poison barbs, the barbs on its tail, blah blah. I'm not using one of these things on my team, so I don't really care. Alright, so you'll catch the Beedrill, it won't ask you if you want to keep it, but more or less, there it is, and you have to basically go around, and if you're done at this point, you could just leave, tell the person you're done, and just go on your way. But I think I'm actually going to take a little bit of time to look around, just in case there's something a little bit better. So I'm going to run around, see if I can't find a better Pokemon. If I do find one, I will cut ahead, let you guys see that. Otherwise, I'll see you guys when the contest is over, so I'll be right back. Okay, so apparently the contest is over. I fainted trying to catch a Butterfree, and that did not go all that well. So we're going to have to judge the contest with just what we have, which is a level 14 Beedrill. Alright, so we will now judge the Pokemon you've caught. Dots. Morse code while they do the judging. And it has now been decided. Are you ready for this? In third place is Pokefan Williams, who caught a writhing Venonat. Haha, we beat him. Alright, with a score of 255. Placing second is the bug catcher Josh, who caught a wiggling Metapod. Oh, we've got this in the bag. At least I hope so. Alright, last but not least, first place goes to Chime, who caught a whopping Beedrill. Haha, thank goodness for that. And as a result for getting first place, we obtain, well, we get a Sunstone, which is just awesome. And I do need this for reasons it's probably pretty obvious, but well, I'll just wait and tell you guys a little bit later. Alright, they'll return the Pokemon that we've kept, and they'll thank us for taking part in the bug contest and wish us luck in the future. So do I want to give a nickname to a Beedrill? No, I do not. I'm not using this thing on my team, so that's the end of that. Alright. Mother! What do you... I know what you want. Would you quit? Yes, Mother. Hello. Hi, Chime. How are you? Doing good. Yeah, I'm glad you found a useful item using my money. I think I'm going to cut you off, Mother. Alright, we'll stop by the nearest department store, pick it up later. Goodbye. I really wish my mother would quit calling me for useless information. So anyways, I was trying to do before that happened. Haha, guys, I beat you. I am totally gloating. I beat all of you with my little oddish. I am awesome. Alright, that's all I'm going to do for that. Alright, so that is pretty much the bug catching contest. Thankfully, we won that. Handily, quite, I might add. So because of that, and everything that's happened, I think we're going to go ahead and call this episode up here. Off here. Excuse me. So, yeah, we're going to go ahead and call things off here. I figure this is a good place to stop. We've won first place in the bug catching contest, got a sunstone, and have leveled up our Pokemon in the process. Showing you guys a lot of bios. I do apologize for that. So anyway, we're going to call things off here. Next time in my Let's Play of Pokemon SoulSilver, I think we're going to look around this place a little bit more and then ultimately move on towards the next location in the game. So, until that time, I will catch you guys later.